So what I want to do today is sit down for a few minutes and answer a couple of questions. One of these is a question that I saw on Reddit maybe a couple of weeks ago, let's say maybe a month ago. Not really sure when the time frame for this is, but it was a question that I saw. It's been in my mind for a while. And the second set of questions that I want to answer come from one of you guys, one of my viewers to this channel, and presumably one of my subscribers. Hopefully so. I've said this with every single video that we've done, and this is the third one in this series answering more generic, more lighthearted, I guess. Maybe not so generic, but more lighthearted, easier questions to answer. And that is, I really enjoy doing this. I love answering the series of questions. I love answering questions, these big, long emails that say, here's my situation, and, here's what's going on, my thought process. I love doing this. I love engaging with you guys. So, yeah, and I'll probably mention this at the end of the video, but if you guys have questions that you want me to answer, at least throw in my 2 cents. I would love to do it. Again, I'd love for this to be a fairly consistent series on the channel because it's so much damn fun to answer legit real life questions and at least weigh in with a little bit of experience that I have on the subject. So let's delve into the questions, starting with this Reddit question that I saw, we'll say 4 weeks ago. And it was a very simple question. Those of you that use weak auras to help with your rotation, or those of you that use rotation add-ons, do you think that that's a good or a bad thing? Now, this is a question that I've struggled with for a long time personally. And that is essentially, if you're using weak auras to tell you what your rotation is, does that make you a shitty player? If you are using add-ons that tell you what spell to use next, does that make you a shitty player or a bad player? My answer to this, at least to this gentleman that posted that on Reddit, is it depends. It depends on a lot of factors. If you are the type of raider, the type of person that has no clue, what spells you're hitting, you're just following what the weak aura, the tell me when, I don't remember the name of the add-ons, that tell you what button to push. If you have no clue what you're doing, yeah, not a good situation to be in. If you find that you are using these because maybe you are raid leading, like myself, where I have a lot going on. I'm calling things out. I'm talking to people. I'm fussing at people, and I'm trying to do DPS or healing or tanking or whatever the case might be. And sometimes I do get distracted, watching timers and whatnot, and going, okay, what is not on cooldown? What's going on? So that would be my differentiating factor is, do you know what you're doing? If you didn't have this, could you be moderately successful? Could you be a functioning member of the raid without this add-on? But it just allows you to free up some of that brain power to think about other things, to focus on mechanics, to focus on DBM or bigwigs timers, to make call-outs for the raid, maybe, whatever the case might be. If you are relying on these add-ons or these weak auras or, these tell me when strings to do your job, your primary job as a DPSer or a healer or a tank, then yeah, you're doing it wrong. But if you're using it as a reminder of what is or isn't on cooldown, what's coming up, what's going on with your spec when you are paying attention to other portions of the raid, then no, I don't see a problem with that. I highly encourage it, in fact, because again, you only have but so much brain power that you can kind of focus in on everything that's going on. And, while people want to argue that as the game gets older and matures that things get easier, and to a certain extent they do, but boss fights are crazy. You look at Coven, compare Coven, let's say like heroic Coven in Antorus to any boss fight from like Vanilla or Burning Crusade, and there's a world of difference. I mean, there's a bazillion different mechanics and everything's going on, and it's a big deal. So no, by all means, if you know your spec, if you know your class, if you know your rotation, you just need a little bit of focus to go to something else, then yeah, by all means, go for it. Now, the series of questions that I mentioned are going to come from, again, one of my viewers, again, hopefully one of my subscribers, Hannah Edgen, who has sent me a ton of questions, and she said, hey dude, great vid. This was in regards to my video taking a step forward, not being complacent, pushing yourself for Battle for Azeroth, for BFA, for BFA, for pushing yourself, because I think that that's something that's really important. I think Hannah was exactly right when she said it, that, you know, you want to take stock of yourself right now, or maybe during the summertime, as we know that, you know, maybe during that September timeframe that BFA is going to be coming out. Take stock of what you want to do, and push forward. Maybe do heroic instead of normal. Maybe do mythic instead of heroic. Maybe PvP and get, you know, push yourself, or whatever the case might be. Maybe improve some of those deficits. Maybe you're the guy that stands in fire. You're the guy that, you know, dies often or always needs a battle res. Don't be that guy for BFA. So that was the video that she was talking about. She said, hey dude, great video. Thank you. I mean, it was basically your idea, Hannah. I had a completely different idea in my head of how the vid would turn out. I kind of assumed so. But I'm pleasantly surprised. Again, thank you. You should consider being a motivational speaker or maybe a counselor. You know, at times I kind of feel that way doing this YouTube channel and being a leader, being a guild leader and a raid leader and all that stuff. There are times where, and in fact, I had a time tonight where, you know, one of my raiders approached me and he said, hey, look, here's the deal. I'm not going to be able to raid because I am doing some social things and I haven't had a job. So I'm now picking up a job and I'm really excited about that. And, you know, I'm worried and, you know, please don't hate me. And my response to him was, dude, take care of yourself. You know, we'll always be here. You always have a home, et cetera, et cetera. You know, you can do this. You got this. I'm proud of you. I'm happy for you, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And it was, you know, it was definitely a counselor type moment. But she also continues and says something where you gently slap people upside the head and say, you can do it, in that voice. Haha. Anywho, and this is her saying this. Ready for more questions? Hell yeah. Hannah, bring it on. But number one, is your guild going to focus on anything different for BFA in terms of rating? Meaning any plans to rate more, push higher, take a step back, whatever. And do you want your guild to change any of those things? So I will answer the second question first. And again, she's got 6 of them here. So the second question, do I want my guild to change any of these things? Yes, I do. Me personally, you know, my guild doesn't know this. I'd love to raid harder content. I have said this before on the channel. I've said this to my guild before. When we stepped into mythic content in Hellfire Citadel, you know, and I was a paladin healer. I had a fucking blast. I had so much fun, and it was hard. You know, and it was the first time that we'd done mythic content, and it was hard. But it was so enjoyable. It was such a good feeling, and to get that kill, you know, and when I get a kill on heroic, I feel good. You know, when we get that first kill for the night, it's like, yeah, sweet, cool. But when we were getting those mythic kills, it was a world of difference for me, adrenaline wise, and just a different feeling. And that's something that I really do miss. Now, in terms of my guild as a whole, that's a tough one to answer. I know my stance on it, but I think towards the end of Legion, probably summertime, once we get a release date. So hypothetically, Blizzard has said, you know, at least, you know, the latest date that it'll come out is September 21st. So let's say that that's the, you know, the date that Blizzard said, look, it's coming out September 21st. Probably a month or 6 weeks or 8 weeks before that. We'll sit down as the raids kind of come to a close and we start taking a break, and, you know, and we're going to sit down with the leaders and go, okay, what do we want to do? And one of the things that I've done several times during Legion for a variety of reasons is not only sit down, but do like Google surveys and go, look, you know, what do you think about this guild policy? And what do you think about this and whatnot? And just take stock of what the guild wants. If the raiding members, my raid members of the guild, and that's the rank that they have, if they want to do harder content, I'll push harder content. If they want to do easier content, I'll do easier content. It's a weird situation, and I've talked about it before, where, you know, you derive your power as a guild leader and a raid leader from your raiders. The only reason that I'm in charge of the guild And here's the big secret to those of you that are in my guild, is because you guys let me. Hopefully I'm doing a good enough job that you want to continue to let me, and they've let me do this for 4, 5, 6, years now, 7 years now as a guild leader. But that's where I derive my power. So while I can stomp my feet and put my foot down and, slam my fists and go, no, we're gonna do this. Well, it doesn't mean shit if the guild, the majority of the guild does or doesn't want to do it. If I say we're doing mythic content and you guys are gonna log in and do it, and they go, 90% of the guild wants to do normal raiding and raid one night a week for 2 hours. Well, I have a hard decision to make. Do I do that, or do I step down and move on? So I don't know. I want to do mythic. I don't know what the guild wants to do. I think that's a question for closer to BFA. Number 2, she says, any new recruitment plans or strategies for BFA? Recruitment is hard, and it's something that I think universally people that are in the business of raiding, YouTubers, one of the big ones that's really encouraged me this past year, 2017, Feet Gaming has even said it as a mythic raider, a straight up mythic raider. Recruitment's hard. There's so many guilds. There's so many available paths that a raider can go with, you can just leave a guild, and it's super easy peasy to do so. Are there any plans? I think really the key is exposure. It's doing things like spamming the shit out of Reddit, spamming the 2 or 3 different, the rating subreddit and the WoW rating, and there's a WoW guild, LFG guild. I don't know. There's a couple of them that are in my bookmarks that just post there consistently and post on the Warcraft forums and spam your heart's content, reasonably so, respectfully so, in general chat and trade chat. Don't hit the button like 5 times on your stupid macro, but maybe once every 5 or 10 minutes. One of the other things that we were successful in doing in Warlords of Draenor, but we really backed off this expansion, was sitting in the LFG queue and just sitting there with a recruitment macro. And we've got actually a couple of long-term members now who joined us during that. Other recruitment plans, I think one of the things that we had wanted to do, and it's obvious that we should be doing it right now, a YouTube channel. My guild has a YouTube channel. It has some bosses from Emerald Nightmare. There's some private videos that I need to edit. I never did anything. It never really took off. I'd love to get that going. And I think if you can put that in there and people can see what type of environment that this guild is in and what we bring to the table as far as the guild, our rating environment and how we are, people might be more interested in it. So that's maybe what I would do for BFA, is just try harder. Honestly, just try harder. Third question she says here is, plan on rolling any of the new allied races? Yes. So this is something that I actually want some input from you guys that are watching this. I have done the High Mountain quest chain because I'd already had the reputation for it. I realized that I'm a big old dum-dum. I did not even start the insurrection quest chain. So I'm almost done with that. I've been kind of lazy this weekend. I had some stuff going on. But what I want from you guys is an answer to this question. I did this way back when on the channel. We're talking years ago, kind of when I was trying to find what I wanted to do on this channel. Would you guys be interested in some type of let's play of me leveling up a new character? I'm thinking of, and I got to scroll down here because he put a comment on this post. The DD Purist Airsoft. This guy who sent me a question saying, "Hey, is it worth it for me to play World of Warcraft?" And I told him, with the changes going on with 7.3.5 and whatnot, that leveling and whatnot is noticeably different than it was, before the patch. Would you guys be interested in something like that? Would you be interested in just watching me play something like that? Let me know what you guys think. That's for everybody, not just Hannah, not just for DD Purists, but anybody that's interested. It's something that I've considered. If so, tell me what to play. Tell me what you want me to play, and I'll do it. Number 4, she asks here, have you ever considered switching factions completely? Yes and no. I started off on the Alliance side. My very first character was Night Elf Warrior. I played a Rogue. I played a Mage. I played a Dwarf Paladin. Pretty classic stuff. Would I switch these days? No. Simply because the majority of the raiding guilds are Horde. Um, there are a few that are Alliance. I don't have a preference. I give. There was a gentleman that did the all of the art on the channel that's given me all the Photoshop files. That it's the stuff you guys see. Ben, who does amazing work. If you look at my channel update video way back when, and I talk about it, and I talk about his Instagram and whatnot, and I'm totally plugging him because even today, without talking to him for quite some time, I'm just super appreciative of what he did for me, and I really think he's the reason why I've continued to do YouTube, just stuff like Hannah and you guys that have reached out to me. He played Alliance, and I have one of my raiders who his schedule changed and took a step back, and now he's playing on his Alliance character, and I give these guys shit, about how shitty, the humans suck, and you're a traitor and an asshole, and I hate you. Truthfully, I don't care. So to Dallas and to Ben and maybe even to Hannah, I don't really care. I would play whatever. If the guild wanted to play Alliance characters, I would re-roll right now. I would pay to change. Maybe not all of my characters at once because I have one of everything. But yeah, I don't care. I don't care what faction. I want to play with my friends. The next one here, number 5. Do you play any other games? If so, which? If not, why? Yes, I do. Very much so. I am a gamer. It's something that I grew up on when I was 5 years old. Me and my brother, well, he was 4, I was 5, got the Nintendo, the original Nintendo way back in the day, back in 1990. And I've been playing video games ever since. Obviously, World of Warcraft is a big chunk of my time. Here lately, I have put in a ridiculous amount of time with things like PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. I love that game, even though it's buggy and it's frustrating and I suck at it. I've gotten a couple of chicken dinners, but it's a game where I've thoroughly enjoyed playing it. I've played the shit out of Insurgency, Call of Duty. I've been playing a little bit of The Division. I play basically everything. I play anything and everything. I have a gigantic, and actually that the raider that I was speaking of that's now playing his Alliance Warlock, a friend of mine who raided with us and kind of took a step back. One of his comments on a YouTube video was, "Show us your Steam library." And Dallas, no, nobody wants to see that. It's a good 300 and some games, 80% of which I've never even touched. And that's something that I've been doing, is trying to go through these single player games. All these that I bought for Steam sales, the winter sale, the summer sale, just going through it, playing through that crap. But big ones these days, if I'm not playing World of Warcraft, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, Insurgency, the Call of Duty on the Xbox, and The Division on the Xbox. So yeah, I love playing video games in general. And the last one here, here's one a lot of people might relate to. As a guild master or raid leader, how do you maintain balance between real life and game time? Does it ever get stressful? Do you have a set schedule or time allotment for playing, or do you just play whenever? That's a damn good question. And I think that's one that it's easy to fail on both sides of that. So do I have a set schedule or time allotment? I show up for the raids. Generally speaking, I will play several hours a day, almost every day. Definitely for raids, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm on a good chunk of the night. Whether it's me helping the guys run Mythic Plus, whether it's me doing a heroic, I try to do, especially with Awakening Essences, 1 heroic a day on my priest right now. Weekends, maybe. It depends. If there's something going on and I want to take my son out to it, I will go and I won't play and I won't log in for the day. Or I'll play Call of Duty. I'll play some other game. And I think, again, that's something that a lot of people in general, not just guild leaders or raid leaders or anything, They put too much time in the game, and their other hobbies or their real life situation deteriorates because of it. Or they think, I'm the guild leader, I'm the raid leader, I don't have to do as much, which you and I both know, Hannah, as leaders, that's crap. You have to put in more time, more effort. How do I maintain a healthy balance? I follow a fairly easy rule when it comes to the game. If I'm not having fun, if I'm getting pissed off, if I'm getting frustrated, not in a good way. Like if I'm like, I want to kill this boss, so let's do one more attempt. That's different. But if I'm getting pissed off or I'm just like, I don't feel like playing, I don't play. I play something else. I go play with my dogs. I go play with my son. We go out. We go somewhere. We go to a movie. We go visit family members. We go get food. It's one of those things where I don't force myself to play. And I don't think that any person, especially a leader, should be forcing themselves to play. If you were logging in, and this is general advice to every single player of any single game, whether it's World of Warcraft, Call of Duty, whatever the next big one is, if you fire up that Xbox, that PlayStation, that, whatever, and you go, I don't want to play, but I guess I will, then you need to stop. Take a break. Just take a break, because you're not doing yourself or anybody else any bit of good. And that's kind of how I live my World of Warcraft life, is if I'm excited to log in, I'm excited to log in. But if I don't want to log in, I don't do it. I don't force myself to do it. And it's really worked out. And then Hannah says, I'm out of questions for now. Again, great job on the vid, bud. Thank you. Hannah, seriously, thank you for sending me, countless questions. Or I guess you could really just count them up. But the amount of questions that you've sent, and the comments and the praise, and for the rest of you guys that have said things to me, thank you. I seriously appreciate it. I really sincerely appreciate and enjoy getting the questions and answering them for you guys. I know, like Hannah said, that idea that she threw out my way, I took it a different way. I put a different spin on it. Hopefully, and she seemed pleased with it. But I really enjoy doing this stuff with you guys. So let's keep this up, man. Keep asking me questions. Keep throwing things my way, because I'd love to talk about it. If you have a specific situation that you want to talk about, again, I'll handle that too. Comment section below. Emails in the About section. Hit me up. Let me know what you guys want to talk about. Till next time, guys. I'll see you.